Hello friends, welcome. And today we will be going ahead with one of the chapters of class 12, the first chapter, which is reproduction in organisms. Okay, so when we talk about any organisms, they live for a certain amount of time. So the period from birth to the natural death of an organism is called the lifespan. So what is lifespan? The period from the birth to the natural death, not the death by accident. Okay, so the period from the birth to the natural death. So this period is known as the lifespan. Okay, now each and every organism, they have their own lifespan. Okay, so now we have a few lifespans which will go into two extremes. Okay, and you may note that lifespans of organisms are not necessarily correlated with their sizes. It is not important that a small animal will live longer or shorter or something like that. The size of crows and parrots are not very different, yet their lifespans shows wide difference. Similarly, a mango tree, it has much shorter lifespan as compared to a peepal tree, whereas both of their sizes are almost similar. Whatever be the lifespan, death of every individual organism is certainty. It is sure. No individual is immortal except single-cell organisms. Now, when we know the reality, now we are coming into one of the options, so that the process in the living organisms should be continuous. For that, it is important that we go ahead with the reproduction. The reproduction takes place. So what is reproduction? Reproduction is the process, or is defined as the biological process in which an organism gives rise to the young ones or offsprings similar to itself. So reproduction is basically a biological process in which an organism gives birth to the young ones. The offsprings will grow, mature, and in turn produce new offsprings. Thus, there is a cycle of birth, growth, and death. So there is a complete cycle. There will be a birth, then it will grow, it will reproduce, and it will die. Or I can say it need not be reproduced, but you can have the birth, then it will grow and it will die. Okay, so this is a life process that it will be followed, and reproduction enables the continuity of species generations after generations. Okay, so there is a large variety in the biological world, and each organism has evolved its own mechanism to multiply and produce offspring. So everyone is not following the same rule for reproduction. So they have got their own ways. So based on whether there is a participation of one organism or two, we can divide the reproduction into two different categories, as asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Okay, so if one organism is participating in the reproduction, I call it asexual reproduction, and if two organisms, that is male and female, that is two parents of opposite sex, participate, then I call it as sexual reproduction. Now coming into asexual reproduction. So in asexual reproduction, it is individual parent is capable of reproducing offspring. So only one particular parent is required. Okay, so the term clone is used to describe the morphologically and genetically similar individuals. So what is it? During asexual reproduction, they produce clones. Okay, what is clones? Which looks same. So a clone would look identical structurally, and it has got same genetical morphology, so it is very similar to the mother cell. So we say it is producing two identical cells. Okay, so I told you, in sexual reproduction it is forming clones. Clones are those which looks morphologically similar. Okay, now so let us see how widespread asexual reproduction is. So asexual reproduction is common among single-celled organisms, and in plants and animals with relatively simple organizations. Okay, in Protists and Monera, the organism or the parent cell divides by mitosis into two to give rise to new individuals. Thus, in the organism, cell division takes place. So see how cell division takes place. So this is the process of cell division. We have the nucleus of an organism. So here you will see the nucleus is getting enlarged and it is getting divided, and once the nucleus divides, the cytoplasm will divide to form two daughter cells. So it will have two daughter cells. Okay, next after that, we have many single cell organisms reproduced by binary fission, when cell divides into two halves, rapidly grows into an adult, like amoeba, paramecium, and all those. So next, in yeast, what happens? In yeast, there is budding that occurs. Okay, so here there is budding that occurs. See, this is yeast, and here the budding is occurring. So you have the parent cell, a bud is being produced. Once the bud is being produced, the bud gets matured. Once it is completely matured, it separates out from the mother and starts growing itself. Okay, so here you see, we will go through. In yeast, the division is unequal, and small buds are produced that remains attached initially to the parent. cell which eventually gets separated and mature into a new yeast organism. Under favorable conditions, the amoeba also, it withdraws its pseudopodia and secretes 3-layer hard covering or cyst around itself. So the amoeba, it will have a pseudopodia, like, right, something like this. It will have a false feet. So this false feet or pseudopodia, it will be cancelled. Okay, so instead of pseudopodia, it will have a 3-layered covering that it will have. This 3-layered covering that it has, it is known as encystation. So it is inside a cyst. So encystation. When favorable conditions return, the encysted amoeba divides by multiple fissure and produces many minute amoeba or pseudopodiospores. Okay, the cyst will burst and the spores, so there will be a small cyst that will be formed, and this cyst will burst, and then you will be having small pores that will be released or liberated surrounding the surrounding media or in the atmosphere. So this particular way of reproduction is sporulation. So what did we see? We saw binary fission. So first one we saw binary fission. Okay, then we saw second we saw budding that occurs. Okay, then fourth one we saw third one we saw sporulation. Okay, sporulation is by forming of spores. Okay, next. Now there are members of kingdom of fungi and simple plants such as algae reproduce through special asexual reproductive system, and these, the most common of these structures are zoospores. Okay, zoospores are there that usually are microscopic motile structures. Other common asexual reproductive structures are conidia in penicillium, buds in hydra, and gemmules in sponge. So we will see all these things. Okay, so here you see in vegetative propagation, if you have here the eyes of the potato is just taken off and it is planted. Okay, here in the ginger and all, you have adventitious roots which are released from ginger and it is planted. Next, if you see here, we have the bulbil in agave, and then we have the bryophyllum. Bryophyllum, what is happening? At the nodes, these are the nodes. Okay, at the nodes there is the growth of the plant, and offset of hyacinth. Hyacinth also, there is a vegetative propagation. It is spreading. Okay, now, while in animals and other simple organisms, the term asexual is unambiguously, in plants the term is vegetative propagation. So what you say asexual reproduction in case of animals, okay, the same thing is vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation in plants. Okay, fine. So now water use, as I said, you runners. Okay, as you saw in hyacinth, offset. Okay, in hyacinth you have rhizome, in ginger sucker, tuber, bulb. So all these things are used for reproduction. So that is vegetative propagation. Now there are few organisms. There are some organisms that breaks their body into distinct small fragments. Okay, and these are capable of producing the offspring. So this is known as fragmentation. So the whole organisms are there. So it is being divided into small fragments, and they fragment, and each fragment can grow into an individual organism. So it is always said, this is important. So in the water bodies, or it is known as the terror of Bengal, we have the water hyacinth. Okay, so what does water hyacinth do? Why is it the terror of Bengal? Because it is an invasive weed and it grows everywhere or wherever there is a standing water, and it drains the oxygen from the water, which leads to the death of the fishes. Now you will see it can propagate vegetatively at a phenomenal rate and spread all over the water body in a very short period of time, and it is very difficult to get rid of this water hyacinth. Okay, now, so I told you how in the bryophyllum you have the nodes which are present. So these nodes, they are present in the modified stems of the plant. So invariably they arise in various plants. When the nodes comes in contact with damp soil or water, they produce new roots and become a new plant. Similarly, adventitious buds arise from the notches present at the margins of the leaves of bryophyllum. This ability is fully exploited by gardeners and farmers for commercial propagation of such plants. So this is how asexual reproduction had been taking place. Next, coming to the sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction, when we talk about sexual reproduction, it involves the male and the female gametes. So either by same individual or different individual of opposite sex. Okay, so these gametes will fuse to form zygote, and these zygotes will then grow into an individual or new organism. Okay, so this will grow into a new organism. Fine. So because of the fusion, male and female gametes, sexual reproduction result in offspring that are not identical to parents. So here, because of sexual reproduction, we have variations. See, when it is asexual reproduction, then the child looks identical to or is a clone of the mother. But when it comes to sexual reproduction, you will have some characteristics which is coming from the male gametes or the male and few characteristics from the female. Okay, so there is a variation that is occurring. You will have some properties of your mother and some properties of your father. Okay, something like this. So they are not identical, and a study of diverse organisms, plants, animals or fungi show that though they differ so greatly in external morphology, internal structure and physiology, when it comes to sexual mode of reproduction, surprisingly they are all in similar pattern. Okay, so internal and the physiology is similar, but externally it might vary. Okay, now all the organisms, they go through different stages. The period of growth when they can reproduce, so all organisms have to reach a stage of growth or maturity. So the period of growth is called juvenile phase or vegetative phase. Okay, so in this phase of variable durations in different organisms. So once they come to end of the juvenile or vegetative phase, then it is marked by the beginning of the reproduction phase. So you have the vegetative phase, then you have the reproductive phase. Okay, so this is so you have vegetative phase or juvenile phase, and then you have the reproductive phase, which is marked as the growth of flowers in plants. Then after that, you will have in the plants, you have two types of plants. One is annual. Okay, one is annual and next is biennial. Okay, what is annual? It is yearly once they will flower. Biennial, it is two. It shows cut vegetative, reproductive and senescent phase. So what are the three different phases we have? We have three different phases. One is vegetative phase, then we have reproductive phase, and then we have senescent phase. Okay, so vegetative, reproductive and senescent phase. But in perennial species, it is very difficult to define the three phases. A few plants exhibit unusual flowering phenomena. Some of them, such as bamboo species, flower only once in their lifetime, generally around after 50 or 100 years, produce large number of fruits and they die. Another plant like your strobilanthes, they will flower once in 12 years. So similarly, you have different flowering phases that occurs or repeated phases that occurs in different organisms or different plants. Now coming to animals. So we have talked about plants and now coming to animals. So in animals, there are two different phases that is there. Okay, so now you will see, in case laying eggs is not related to reproduction but a commercial exploitation for human welfare in the poultry. Okay, so the females of placental mammal exhibit cyclic changes in the activity of ovaries and accessory ducts as well as the hormones during the reproductive phase. In the non-primate, so in the non-primate mammals like cow, sheep, rats, dogs, tigers, so this period is known as estrus cycle, and in primates like monkeys, apes and all those, it is menstrual cycle. So in non-primates it is estrus cycle, and in primates it is menstrual cycle. Okay, now estrus cycle, and in primates it is menstrual cycle. Okay, now many mammals, especially those living in natural wild condition, exhibit such cycles only during favorable seasons in their reproductive phase and are therefore called seasonal breeders. So when the season comes, and many other who reproduce throughout their reproductive phase, they are continuous breeders. So here we have two. One is seasonal breeders and other is the continuous breeder. Okay, one is seasonal breeder and other is the continuous breeder. Okay, so that we all grow old is something that we recognize. But what do you mean by growing old? The end of reproductive phase can be considered as one of the parameters of senescence or old age. So you can no more reproduce. There is concomitant changes in the body like slowing the metabolism. During this last phase of the lifespan, old age ultimately leads to death. In plants and animals, hormones are responsible for transition between three phases. So whether it is the hormonal changes that occurs. Interaction between hormones and certain environmental factors regulate the reproductive phase and the associated behavioral expressions of organisms. Now, what are the events that occur in sexual reproduction? So, you attain maturity. All sexually reproducing organisms exhibit events and processes that have remarkable fundamental similarity. Okay, even the structures associated with sexual reproduction are indeed very different. They are different. Okay, in different organisms, the event which is being followed is almost the same, in the same sequence. Sexual reproduction, it is characterized by fusion of male and female gamete. Then there is a formation of zygote and then embryogenesis. So there is fusion of gametes, then you have the zygote formation, and then from the zygote you have the embryo formation. So whatever be the whatever be the sexual reproduction that you're following, this is the process that will be followed. Okay, so there are 3 stages we can say. One is pre-fertilization, fertilization and post-fertilization. So in the pre-fertilization, what happens? There is a gametogenesis happens, then fertilization occurs, and then post-fertilization embryogenesis occurs. Let us see. Pre-fertilization events. So what are the pre-fertilization events? We have gametogenesis and gamete transfer. So what is gametogenesis? Gametogenesis is the process of formation of 2 types of gametes, which are they male and female. So gametes are usually haploid. So N. So the number of gametes, that is N. Okay. So you will have a few organisms which will have similar type of gametes. They are known as homogametes. So that is not possible to categorize them into male and female gametes. So they are homogametes or isogametes. Sexually reproducing organisms, they have 2 separate gametes, so they are known as heterogametes. So the male gamete is known as antherozoid or sperm, and female gamete is known as ovum or egg or ovum. Okay, now sexuality in organisms. So how does sexuality come into picture? So plants may have both the reproductive structures in the same plant, okay, or it may be on different plant. Whereas in animals, it involves the fusion of gametes in 2 different individual. Animal, it is in 2 different individual, but plants may be in the same or may be in different. Okay, so now depending on that, we can say plants may have both male and female structures in the same, so that is known as bisexual plants, or in different, which is, I can say, that is unisexual plants. So in fungi and plants termed as homothallic and monoecious. So they are monoecious plants or homothallic plants. Like okay, they denote the bisexual condition. So they have got both the male and female gametes in the same plant. Whereas heterothallic or dioecious plants, they are unisexual condition. In flowering plants, unisexual male flowers. So when I talk about unisexual male flowers, so male are the staminate and females are the pistillate. So the structure, the pistil is the innermost structure with the ovary, right, and the stigma on the top. So this female structure of the plant is known as pistil. So the female part is the pistillate, and the male part is the stamina. So it has got the staminal tube, and then you have got the filament. Okay, that is the male part. Okay. Now we are coming to the hermaphrodites. Hermaphrodites, earthworms, sponge, tapeworms, and leech. They are the example of hermaphrodites, and so they are hermaphrodites. They possess both male and female reproductive organs. They have both male and female reproductive organs. Whereas cockroach is unisexual species. Cell division during gamete formation. So how does cell division occurs? Cell division during gamete formation, the gamete is heterogametic. So male and female is there. Now gametes are haploid in nature. So haploid from female and haploid from male comes, and they will fuse together to get the cell. So they will go under mitotic division. Okay, fine. Several organisms belong to Monera, fungi, algae, bryophytes have haploid plant body. But organisms belonging to pteridophytes, gymnosperms and angiosperms, and most of the animals, including human beings, the parental body is diploid. Okay, it is a diploid. Fine. So it is obvious that meiosis, the reduction division, has to occur if a diploid body has to produce haploid gametes. So there should be reduction in the number of chromosomes, right? From 2n it needs to get into n. So there is the occurrence of meiosis. That okay. So here you see, we have one by one. So here we have bisexual animal, which is earthworm. Second, we have got unisexual, which is cockroach. So this is the cockroach. It has got the male. See, male testis sac is there with testis and the ovary. So male and female is in the same organism. Okay. So here you have see the male, and here you have the female. Okay. The cockroach. That's the female cockroach. One is the male cockroach and other is the female cockroach. So you have male and female cockroach. Then the next, it says it is monoecious plant chara. So this is a monoecious plant. So we have the male sex organ and the female sex organ as a monoecious plant. Then we have the dioecious plant. See, we have in 2 different. We have female thallus in one and male thallus in another. And we have a bisexual flower where we have the carpel, that is a pistil, as well as stamen in the same flower. That's a complete flower that we have called it as. Okay. So as it was told, human beings are diploid in nature. So they have 46 chromosomes, 2n, and half of them is 23. So each gametes will have 23. Okay. So there is a form of meiosis that occurs. Then we are coming to how gene transfer takes place. How does gene transfer takes place? After the formation of male and female gametes, it must be physically brought together to facilitate fusion, because until fusion occurs, fertilization will not occur. So there is a medium, there is a need of a medium through which the male gametes can move to the female gametes. So the male gamete will move to the female gamete. Okay. Now, in several simple plants like algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, water is the medium. Okay, usually. So what happens? A large number of male gametes, however, will fail to reach the female. So to compensate, what happens? You will produce a large number of male gametes will be produced. Okay, so these and thus the number of female gametes. So to compensate this loss, male gametes during transport, the number of male gametes produced is several thousand times the female gametes that was being produced. Okay. In seed plants, what happened? Pollen grains are being carried. So you will have pollens which is carried by some birds, butterflies, insects, and all those things. So pollens from the ant are produced in the anther will be transferred into the stigma, and the fertilization will take place. In bisexual self-fertilization plant, example, peas, transfer the pollens to the stigma is relatively easy as anther and stigma are located close to each other. Pollen grains, soon after they are shed, comes in contact with the stigma, and there is a cross-pollination that is occurring. Okay, and this specialized event is known as pollination, which facilitates the transfer of the pollen grains to the stigma. Now, pollen grains, once it germinate on the stigma, and the pollen tubes will carry, so you have the pollen grain which is coming to the stigma, and the pollen tube will carry this pollen grains, and to the pollen tube carrying the male gametes, reach the ovule and discharge the male gametes near the egg. So micropyle, it will release the pollen into the egg. Okay, very near to the egg. In dioecious animals, since male and female gametes are producing different individuals, the organism must evolve special mechanisms for gamete transfer. Successful transfer or coming together of gametes is essential for the most critical event in sexual reproduction, which is fertilization. So once these male and female gametes come together, we are going to the next stage, which is fertilization. So in fertilization, what happens? The most vital event of sexual fertilization is the fusion of the gametes, and this process is called as syngamy, or this process is called syngamy. This results in the formation of diploid zygote. And fertilization, this is a term which is very commonly used. Okay, if the organism is developed without fertilization, I say it as parthenogenesis. So like turkeys, honeybees, very commonly seen lizards, they produce new organisms without fertilization. That is where it is known as parthenogenesis. Okay, now where does syngamy occurs? So the syngamy of fertilization, as it is said, it occurs in some medium. Say if it occurs outside the body, I say it as external fertilization, and if it occurs inside the body, then it is known as internal fertilization. Okay, so in external fertilization, what happens? In external fertilization, what happens? The organisms exhibit external fertilization, show great synchrony between the sexes, and release a large number of gametes into the surrounding medium in order to enhance the chance of syngamy. So there is release of a huge amount of gametes. This happens in bony fishes, frogs, where a large number of offsprings are produced. What is the major disadvantage over here? The offspring are extremely vulnerable to predators, threatening their survival up to adulthood. So it is very threatening for them to live, as they are not under any control. In many terrestrial organisms, what happens? Like fungi, higher animals, birds, and everywhere, here the fertilization takes place inside the body of the organism. So it is known as internal fertilization. Here eggs are formed inside the female body, where they fuse to the male gamete, and in the organisms exhibit internal fertilization, male gametes is motile, and it will reach the egg and fuse to the egg. The number of sperms produced is very large. There is significant reduction in the number of eggs produced. In seed plants, however, non-motile male gametes are carried to the female gametes by pollen tubes. Okay. Next, coming to the next process, which is post-fertilization. So post-fertilization events, what are they? So there is a formation of zygote. So formation of diploid zygote is universal. It is common whether it is in the external medium or in the internal medium. Okay, so in the external medium, the zygote is formed in the external medium itself, whereas internally the zygote is formed inside the body. Further, the zygote is developed. Development of the zygote depends on the life cycle of the organism. So, in the organisms which belong to fungi, algae, zygote develops a thick wall which resists any damage. So, it has some period, it undergoes a period of rest, and then they will come out, or then they will, in organisms with haplontic life cycle, zygote divides by meiosis to form haploid spores and grow into haploid individuals. So, zygote is the vital link that ensures the continuity of species. The formation of zygote is very important. Every sexually reproducing organism, including human beings, begin life as a single cell zygote. Okay. From the zygote, there is a formation of embryo. So, these process is known as embryogenesis. So, the zygote, it will undergo cell division by mitosis and cell differentiation. So, cell division is what? There is an increase in the number of cells, and cell differentiation is what? There is a formation of specialized tissue or organ for for the organism. Okay, so they modify, the cells will modify to have specialized function, that is cell differentiation. Animals, depending on whether they give birth to the young ones or lay eggs, they can be oviparous or viviparous. Okay, so in oviparous animals like reptiles and birds, the fertilized egg is covered with calcareous shell and is laid in a safe place in the environment, and after a period of incubation, the mother sits on the egg and gives warmth. Instead of incubation, it is hatched out. In viviparous, what happens? The zygote develops into young one inside the female organism, and after attaining certain stage of growth, the young one are delivered out of the body of the female organism. Because of proper embryonic care and protection, the chance of survival of young ones is greater than in viviparous organisms. Like as you know the story of crow and quail. So usually quail gives birth to its young ones in the crow's nest. So likewise, so the survival of young ones in the viviparous animals is much safer than oviparous. Okay, in flowering plants, what happens? In flowering plants, the zygote develops into embryo and the ovules will develop into seeds. Okay, the ovary which will develop into the fruit, which develops thick wall called as pericarp, that is protective. After dispersal, seeds germinate under favorable conditions to produce a new plant. So you have the seed. Okay, so you have the seed and you have the pericarp. So you see the seed and the pericarp is there. So here whatever the seed it has, the outer covering is the pericarp. Okay, so thank you.